Hey guys, Mark from parkflyers.com. Today we're looking at a very special Granite Grom. Now this is a fully upgraded car. The original Grom is brushed. It's $119.99. It never came out in 223 form. And that is because a car like this has a short wheelbase. I'm pretty sure Arrma figured that it's not going to make for a good brushless version. However, we disagree. We took this car and we did some modifications to it in addition to adding brushless power, and we made it into something very special. Now we're going to go through all the details on how we made this thing special. And by the way, if you guys want us to put one of these together for you, we can. Just reach out to mark@parkflyers.com or call the 1-800 number, ask for Mark, and we'll help you get one of these. Let's just go through the car, and let's start with the motor and the speed control. The motor and speed control is from Furitek. It's basically a Scorpion motor, 5600 kV. Very, very nice motor. It'll run on 2 or 3S. The speed control that it comes with is fully programmable. It works with either an iPhone or an Android app and fully adjustable. You could control all the torque parameters. You have punch control, braking control, cutoff voltage for the battery. Basically control the voltage to the servo. Very, very elaborate and very nice app that controls the speed control. It is censored, so it's a lot smoother than anything in the 223S line. And like I said, the potential on this is really nice. It's very, very well made. Furitek has been making motor and speed controls for quite some time now, and they have a very good reputation. So adding all this power to this car is not that simple. You don't just throw a motor and speed control into a car and hope for the best. You have to do it carefully because the car is not going to handle good. You have a short wheelbase car here. It's going to normally the tendency to be very twitchy. So we basically will tell you about the first defect of the car, which is in the suspension geometry, and that's in the front. Now, the way that the car comes from the factory, the springs in the front are a little bit too long for the car, and what happens is the car basically will sit up. You have positive droop, and what happens is when you give full throttle, the front end lifts up. It doesn't hook up with the ground properly. The CG is much higher in the front. It causes a little bit of understeer, very unstable at high speeds. And also when you're jumping it, it doesn't launch off the jump properly because the front is sitting up too high. Now we cut a rung and a half. A rung and a half looks like this. It's basically one ring of the spring and another half on just the front shocks, okay? And basically it'll lower the front and it'll actually make the car level. So now when you're looking at the car, there's no rake or it's not, on level. It's basically completely level and it makes the car handle 10 times better. Trust me when I tell you, I've done a previous video on this on the brush version. About 24 people reached out to me thanking me for that video. I detailed on, how to basically cut the spring and just lower the front end. Now I did. In that video, we lowered the rear end too. That was a mistake. You don't need to lower the rear end. You have all that weight, the motor, everything in the back. So, and also when you give throttle, the rear is going to squat. So it ends up sitting parallel where it should be. And the front is really lifting up too much. So you're going to basically just do it on the front springs. It's much better than the original, like I said in the original video, so just trust me on that one. Now on this car, most of the upgrades that Arrma has for the cars, the ones that come with the 23S, and the first is the aluminum shocks. They have aluminum shock bodies, they're very nice. Now they come with, I think, 30 or 40 weight oil in them. That's the wrong oil for this setup. We're going to go with 80 weight oil. It slows down the rebound, it just handles better, especially when you have all this power. You want 80 weight oil, it's really nice. And you're going to go with that. Now, as far as the steering servo, with all this power, you really need to handle that power. We went with the PH60 from Powerhobby. It's really, really nice servo. It's all metal. It's $60. It's just a beautiful piece. Now, one thing we have to tell you, Powerhobby also makes a 25 tooth micro servo saver for this servo. It doesn't work. It has all the wrong screws and the wrong fittings. It's not going to work. The hot racing version of that is going to work. I'll actually show you the item number here and we'll list it below. It's a 25 tooth. It's called the Reef Servo Saver for the Grom. It's a micro 25 tooth, by the way. It's not a regular 25 tooth. These are all sold out all over the internet. I had to buy this retail for this build here for the customer, just because they're not available. But when they are, they're going to probably sell out. It's the only servo saver that I would use with this servo. Now this servo puts out 150 ounces of torque. For something this tiny, it is awesome. It's fast, it's precise, it centers well, and it's definitely better than the stock servo. You're not going to break that servo. Really not going to break it. Now the Furitek, you're going to need the Furitek servo mount. They make it in carbon fiber and aluminum. It's really nice. Very nice. You got to pick that up because you're going to eliminate the stock setup, and that requires the servo mount. For the motor mount, we went with a GPM aluminum motor mount. You don't need to. You could use the stock one because we actually kept the 16-tooth pinion in there because this motor is so powerful. We didn't want to really overtax it. With the 16-tooth pinion on 2S, you're going to go anywhere from 35 to 40 miles an hour. On 3S, you're going to go up to 50, maybe 52. It's very, very fast, and you're not going to really need more than that. Trust me on this one, you don't need another pinion. Just leave it stock at 16-tooth. Now, the motor, that very nice Furitek, includes a little adapter so that you could actually reuse the stock heatsink. It basically goes over the motor because the diameter of this brushless motor is smaller than the brushed motor, so it allows the stock heatsink to fit. We think it's a really nice touch from Furitek. They're one of those companies that thinks of everything. When we took this out to drive, now in a little car like this, you want to keep it stable. You're going to have to use a gyro with this car. The gyro that we have here is about $25. It's fully adjustable. Now on most little cars like this, they're very twitchy, but even like on a Typhon, you're going to put the setting for the gyro on halfway, 50%, let's call it. But on this car, because it has such a short wheelbase and it's a little bit more twitchy, you're actually going to max this out at about 95%, and then you give throttle and it basically just holds the line. Very, very cool to see this go at full speeds, holding the line and driving very stable. We really think this is a lot of fun. Now, air control is very nice with this car because we cut the front springs and it's parallel to the ground. Very nice attitude when it hits a ramp. Also, censored motor and speed control. Because it's centered, you have very, very smooth throttle, really good air control, and it feels very precise in the air. I would call this car a fun machine. It's one of those cars that really has a perfect balance between speed, agility, stability, the way it jumps. It's just incredible. And I tell you what, it's a lot of fun. Now, we paired this particular Granite Grom with the new IXSR radio. It's really nice when you control it with this radio because you have all that flexibility of different parameters in the radio, endpoints, and you have launch control, all these things, complex calculations and complex settings in the radio. It just complements the car very well, and you could really set it up to and tailor it to your liking. It's going to be a lot better than the included SLT radio that we think is kind of like entry level and a little cheap. Settings are limited on that. With this radio, you can really, like I said, hone in the settings and really tailor your feel of the car and how it's going to control for you. Now, I want you to take a look at how carefully this has to be set up, just because it's a lot of clutter in here. We basically made everything very, very neat and compact, and just so that it's not, and nothing's hanging off the car, and it's not like clunky. So if you're going to do this, and if I'm going to set this up for you, it's going to be done like this. It's going to be very neat and clean. Like I said, we do these installs for people all the time. If you're interested in a Granite Grom that's fully brushless, we really recommend this. I definitely think these are better than the 223 cars, just because, like I said, the Furitek app lets you program the speed control. They're censored. They allow you to use a more expensive radio because they don't have that built-in receiver into the speed control, and it's just overall a better package. So we really like this a lot. Now, I have to talk about one important thing for this car that you have to know, and that is you definitely need to calibrate the speed control with the radio. When I first set this up, I didn't do that. I took it for a run, and I was like underwhelmed by the lack of power. I thought it really could have used more power. I calibrated it, very, very simple. It explains it in the instructions how to do it. After I did that, it was absolutely explosive. So just make sure you calibrate the speed control of the radio, very, very easy. Another thing I want to mention is the importance of buying the upgraded differentials for this car. You need to buy the steel ones. The stock ones are not going to handle this power. They're gonna likely go bad and break. Again, you have to buy the Arrma differentials for this car. They come preloaded with the differential grease. The stock grease, I think, is about 4,000 or 5,000. That's going to be okay for the front of the car. For the rear of the car, if you want it to handle a lot better, you want to put Kyosho 1K grease, 1000K. It's going to allow the rear differential to basically open up and not push as hard. And in a car with a short wheelbase, it's going to make the car launch much better. It's not going to lose control off the line. And again, under full throttle, it's going to handle much better and it's going to push a lot less. Again, for the rear of the car, you want to put 1K, 1000 Kyosho differential fluid in the rear. That's going to give you the best performance. If you're interested in this, like I said, call 1-800-470-8932, call Mark, and we'll put one together for you. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you, and have a great day.